No? No? Okay. Ready? We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. All right, we'll move on to the approval of minutes of meeting held on October 24th and November 2nd. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We did not have any persons wishing to address the board tonight on either non-agenda or agenda items, so we'll move on to item 6, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And on to the good news report. Deanne.
And while she comes up, I said, what a great thing. We have so much good news tonight.
Buckle up.
Buckle up is right.
Well, good evening. As Dr. Stava mentioned, we have a full slate of recognitions for tonight's Good News Report, so we will get right to business.
Why would I be in the good news report?
And on the screen before you, you can see that we would like to offer a special congratulations for longtime teacher and coach turned school board member, Mark Murin. He was recently inducted into the Washington High School Hall of Fame. There he is in all his glory with his family surrounding him. Just so you know, Mark, I listened to your speech. I didn't have the honor of being present, but I listened to your speech. And if anyone's looking for a little bit of entertainment, you could spare a little bit of time. And Mark is quite the comedian. So he was honored recently as a person who was capable of turning around the lives of kids. He took many students who were average athletes and turned them into success stories by inspiring a hunger and loyalty to be part of the Washington High School Warrior Way. Mark taught history and coached 31 years of football, 27 years of wrestling, 5 years on the track, and he is now retired but still serving our students, thankfully, with the Sioux Falls School Board. Please help me congratulate Mark Murin. Those photos were just too good not to share. So thank you to Matt Schultz from Washington High School. He shared those photos with us as well. And hey, since we're talking football, it was a big weekend, of course, for high school football with the Jefferson Cavaliers earning the 11 AAA championship crown, coached by Vince Benedetto and led by senior quarterback Talon Ashley and a whole slew of other great kids from Jefferson High School with some really big goals and the hearts to go after those goals. The Cavaliers went 12-0 on the season with a convincing 48-21 win over Harrisburg. And this, as you know, is just the second year Jefferson High School has been in existence. So we congratulate the Jefferson High School Cavaliers.
And just a point, Talon Ashley also, I think, won the Joe Robbie Award for
Joe
MVP for the division.
Lots of great talent and great kids representing our schools this past weekend. Next, we are honored to have one of our current active duty military members with us. We recently requested a list of current staff members who are veterans or active duty military personnel. And Chris Martin is among them. He is a technology integration facilitator with the Sioux Falls School District. And for nearly 3 decades, he's been a proud member of the Army National Guard. while we wish to honor and thank all of our Sioux Falls School District staff who are currently serving or have served in the past, we wanted to invite Chris forward to say a few words this evening about his military service, including both past deployments and a new deployment that he'll be embarking upon this next month. So we would invite Chris to come forward, and as he does so, I will share some of the names of the folks that were brought forth as current or veterans who are serving now in the Sioux Falls School District.
Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I'd like to thank Deanne for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you on behalf of all staff currently serving in our armed forces. As many already know, I start my deployment a month from now for what could take up to 11 months. I'll be stationed at Al Asad Air Base, Iraq. Our unit's mission is to sustain base operations in a multinational environment. This will be my second deployment in my 30-year career. My mission will create voids in many areas, one of which is here in the district. Now, just like in a puddle of water, a boot stomping in it displaces some water, and then it leaves the puddle and creates a temporary vacancy, but only for a fleeting moment. That water that surrounds that void quickly fills in until the ripples are gone and it levels off. The puddle remains, but there is less of it, and it's not quite the same. During the course of this time, there are many that will be stepping up and filling in the void of my absence. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for the staff who will be picking up that slack so that our students and our staff needs are met. For this, I would like to say thank you. I would also like to thank the staff in our HR department for helping me get ready for this transition. I would also like to thank the administration and the school board for your support. Without that support, those of us serving have a harder mountain to climb. This year is my 24th year in education. I love kids, I love people. I'm a people person, so it's hard not to. Servitude is in my heart. Along with my family, the students and staff of this great district are the things I greatly treasure. And as in Luke chapter 12:34 says, for where your treasure is, there also will your heart be. And folks, although I'll be away soon, my heart will still be here in Sioux Falls. Thanks again for your commitment to support troops. Thanks for your leadership, and thank you for allowing me to be here before you tonight. I'd also like to thank my wife, and my son is here with me tonight. And without her, she is my rock. And I can't do without her. So thank you again for your support, and God bless you. Thank you.
And thank you, Chris, for sharing those words with us. We went out in search of the names of the people that are serving, and I'm quite certain we didn't get them all listed here, and we'd be happy to update that list just to keep a current record of that. So want folks to know if they are a current staff member, either serving as a veteran or an active duty person, to please let us know. Sometimes that comes in on an application. They mark the veteran status or something, and sometimes they don't. And so we certainly, this past Veterans Day, really wanted to make note of that, honor that service, not only service to our students, but service to the greater country as well. So our heartfelt thanks to Chris and his family, because we know that's a major, major commitment. And finally, our last piece of good news tonight, if you can handle one more. Garfield Elementary is our school spotlight this month. Garfield is located in the heart of Sioux Falls and serves a diverse community of learners. Principal Kristen Skogstad is here along with a few of her teachers to tell you more about what makes Garfield such a special place. So, Kristen.
Good evening. We are excited to be here tonight to share with you a little bit about what makes Garfield such a wonderful place for us to enter the doors of each day. When you come into Garfield, you'll notice that our mission is displayed throughout our school. We encourage, teach, and empower our leaders to succeed. And along with our school mission statement, each classroom and teacher and student has their own mission. The picture that's on the slide shows a collage of the different mission statements for each of the classrooms. And then the teachers and staff members have their mission statements displayed outside their door, and students have them in their leader binders. Deanne said that one of the things that makes Garfield a unique and special place is the diversity. I often tell people Garfield is beautifully diverse, and it's true. When you see our students and you learn about where they have come from, they're from all over the world. We have a very large attendance area that comes to Garfield each day. And currently, one of the things that I learned this year is that Garfield is second in the city for the number of Native American students who attend. And so we proudly display all of the flags from the tribes that our students represent. And we also, I have a picture coming up that shows all of the flags from the countries that are represented at Garfield. Along with the diversity, we have diverse languages. There are 21 different languages, including English, that are spoken at Garfield. And so I am challenged daily. Someone's trying to teach me Ukrainian, I'm learning Spanish, I'm learning all kinds of things from our students, and I don't even have to leave the school. And here's that picture. The first one is our ELL students and all of the different countries that they represent. And the multipurpose room has the flags from all of our countries. We do have to change them each year because we have some students leave us and some students come. And there's just a picture of the faces that greet us each and every day at Garfield. One of the questions that Deanne asked was, what sets you apart as a school? And Garfield was the first elementary school, or the first school in South Dakota, to be a Leader in Me school. And that's something that we take pride in. It's an opportunity for us to provide support for every part of the child, not only the academic part, but the social, emotional parts of a child as well. It also helps us to foster our relationships with families and our community. It's grounded in the Leader in Me framework, and it follows the See, Do, Get model, which is very similar to our Plan, Do, Study, Act that we use here in Sioux Falls. So it was a nice transition for us. I have some of my staff members along. Sarah Goman and Diana Johnson are our Lighthouse leaders, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about the Leader in Me and what it means to our school. And then I have Alicia Bell, our assistant principal, who's here, and she has some things to share too.
Okay, so this slide shows the 7 habits. There's actually 8 habits. Another one has been added since we started doing Leader in Me. So these 8 habits are what we teach to the students and live by every day in Garfield. A curriculum was provided with us that we teach, and it gives us that nice common language to use throughout the school.
With Leader in Me, a lot of it is based around, the majority of it is based around our students, giving them leadership opportunities in the classroom, in the hallways, outside of the classroom, being able to kind of develop those communication skills that we are trying to teach in the classroom, but watching them be able to take that and do something more with it. With it being such a student-led, the families and the engagement of the families become something that we would have never saw or never had if that wasn't their students coming home saying, hey, this is what we're learning about. And, you know, even in our family nights and things like that, we bring in the Leader in Me, the habits, and get a lot of questions. So we celebrate students by leader cards. Leader cards, we have daily, weekly, and monthly leaders. Leader of the month, which is, we do a prize patrol. We have a sticker that we put on the Kristen's car, and it says Garfield Prize Patrol. Leader prize. But they get balloons and candy, and people go to their homes and it's just something pretty special. And then the leader lunch where they get to have lunch with either people that come into Garfield or this year we went to Augustana, was it? Augustana. So just a lot of things for the students and to continue to have them be leaders outside of just within the four walls of their classroom.
Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind, which is the whole habit is based on goal setting, making a plan and following through on that plan. So at Garfield, we really focus on that goal setting using our wildly important goal, what we call our WIGs. With the WIGs, staff have their own personal WIGs that we have and that we model that to the students. So they have an academic WIG based on our student improvement plans and that we carry it throughout the school. So we have a school-wide WIG, then we have a class or grade level WIG, classroom WIG down to their personal WIG. And with these WIGs, we have data tracking. And you can see in the slide, we track that in our binders. Then we also track it, there's the first grade one, of the world, and students get to move their different tokens or whatever, we have planes, to their different goals that they go throughout. So like first grade's high frequency words. They start at the beginning of the year, and then they can see that grow throughout the year, being posted until the end.
So each Monday morning, we begin our week with a leader assembly. And this short assembly allows us to come together as an entire school community. And what's really neat about this assembly is that it's completely student-led. During this time, we celebrate individual student leaders and then also classrooms that are leading the way at our school. We say the Garfield School Pledge together, the Pledge of Allegiance, and we sing the school song, which I think, Kristen, were you going to do for them this evening? These assemblies are just a really great way for us to start our week in a positive way by celebrating all the wins that happen at our school.
There is a little video if you want to watch it. It's the kids singing the Garfield song. And our music teacher who was with us when we started The Leader in Me wrote that song for us. So it's all about being leaders and having grit and perseverance. And then our Garfield School Pledge goes along with our PBIS expectations of being considerate, responsible, and proactive, and having high expectations for ourselves and for our students. One of the things that's very exciting about this year is that we have applied to be a lighthouse school for Leader in Me, and we will have that review in January, and we're very excited about that. We've been reviewing the rubric that goes along with everything that we've been doing, and we are hopeful that when they come to visit us, we will be recognized as a lighthouse school. And right now, I think there's just 600 in the world, and so it would be a big accomplishment for us, but we've been working very hard towards that big rock. Just a few more friendly smiles, and what I want to do is I want to leave you with the fact that I'm blessed each day to come to a school that has such a caring and dedicated staff. They do not give up, and they believe in our students. Our students know that they have high expectations, but that they're loved each and every day, no matter what. They see it when they walk in the door. They hear us speak that language to them, and we know that our future leaders are coming through our door every day. And so what we do with them when they're in our building is going to impact the greater good of our world, not only here in Sioux Falls, but we're confident that maybe there's a president in our halls at Garfield right now, because they really are amazing students. So we only had a short amount of time. We invite you to come anytime to visit us at Garfield and just to see firsthand what amazing things are happening. So thank you.
I just want to say that I know I strongly believe in the expectations that you set, whether it's for your children or for your students or whatever it might be. They will strive to meet that expectation. And so it's good for kids to have high expectations set for them, because it pushes them and it makes them, you know, really grow. And so I love that as a school, that's really kind of your thing, is that this is what we're going to do and we're all going to do it. That way everyone is striving for probably different things, but they're all outside of maybe what their own reach is. And so that's something I try to do as a parent. And I love that teachers challenge students as well, because our kids are amazing. Whether they're our own kids or whether they're your students, and they are capable of so much if people would just give them the confidence and give them the empowerment to reach those goals. So I love the whole concept of the leader in me, because you're right. These kids are going to be going out into our community in a variety of ways, and we need them to be great leaders and great communicators. So thank you so much for all of the work you've put in over the last few years, and really getting your school to get on board, and your families as well.
Thank you. That's it? Okay, you sure?
Lots of great news.
Yeah, lots of good news. All right, we did not have any other conflicts of interest, so move on to item 9, approval of consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. On to the supplemental consent agenda, items 10A, approval of claims to Sanford Health. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from board member Ryder. On to the reports of the superintendent.
All right, we have 3 things tonight. The first thing I'm going to do is ask Becky Dorman to come up. We need to have a short hearing. This is kind of part 2. I think this is 2 or 3 or 4 maybe, of the requests that we need to make for waivers for teachers who are pursuing that alternative pathway to their certification. This is a requirement that we have.
Thank you, Dr. Stavum. Yes, whatever number this is, I hope this is final for this school year, as the HR department works with the Department of Ed to find the pathways for all of our teachers to reach full state certification. This hearing is really in 3 parts, because there are 3 rules in which we are applying for waivers for. The first is the plan of intent waiver. We have 9 individuals that need 1 more year, this school year, to complete either the requirements of their praxis exam or to wrap up their coursework. We also have a CTE instructor eligibility waiver that we need to do, where we can apply a new hire's military experience to the eligibility requirements to help him find a pathway to full state certification. And then also, the third and final would be the American Sign Language permit to allow some past coursework completed to apply toward the current regulations for becoming certified. So we thank the Department of Ed for working with us and helping us to find compromises and pathways for all of our teachers to reach full state certification. So with that, are there any questions? Great, then I ask that you acknowledge the public hearing and authorize administration to proceed with our waivers.
All right, we will open it for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on the topic can come up. All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Thank you, Becky. So,
May I just interject one comment? One of the things that I think was interesting to look at just briefly on the report that was provided with this agenda item is the number of teachers that we have that's growing every year with alternative certification. And in the narrative, Becky mentions the work that our coaches are doing with those teachers. When you have that alternative pathway, you often may need some extra supports. And so we're thankful that we have those instructional coaches available, because they're probably more important than they ever have been with the number of teachers coming through that alt cert route. So something to think about for our future.
mm-hmm. Thank you.
Vote to acknowledge.
Just, okay. Can I get a motion to acknowledge the public hearing on the request for waivers for teachers pursuing alternative certification?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
And then we'll turn it over to Mr. Veek. Hard to believe we're already at the point in the year where we're looking at our timeline for the budget process, but here we are in November, so he will review briefly with us.
Thanks. Usually we do the timeline and the guidelines together, but we're going to split them up this year. The guidelines will come in 2 weeks. So we're just going to go through the timeline tonight. And some joker put this on my desk today. I thought it was appropriate for this meeting, so I'll give you a second to look that over. And we didn't want to, what is it? Want to do too much company workflow tonight, so we are just doing the timelines instead. So here's what it looks like. You've got the whole document, but I just pulled out some of the highlights, I guess. So on the 23rd of November, cost center supervisors will submit their list of budget committee members to us. On the 28th, we'll present the budget guidelines to the school board when we have those nailed down. Enrollment predictions for next year for the by grade will be done by the 2nd of December. Then on the 7th, we'll meet with the budget preparers and to distribute worksheets for them, their electronic worksheets, and review the process with them that we came up with next meeting. On the 6th of January, the cost center supervisors then will complete their 100% of program budgets, which is not 100% of the program budgets, but the budget what is it going to cost next year to do what you're doing this year. So we'll have that, we'll have a baseline. We can kind of set our 5-year plan off that, beginning on the 6th of January. And then on the 30th, a rough draft of all budgets will be due. Then in February 17th, all capital outlay requests are due. On the 3rd of March, all budgets, everything will be finalized and due. And then we'll also distribute the building enrollment projections if they haven't already been done. On the 8th, when the session's over, we'll get a preliminary revenue budget because so much of our revenue comes from the state aid formula. Then on the 16th of March, we'll have the K-12 Budget Review Committee. It's got President Sarabentz and Vice President Ryder are on that committee, and teachers are on it, and administrators, building administrators and central administrators are on that committee, and they'll make recommendations. Then on the 29th of March, we'll have our first public works session. We'll go over that in detail. And then on the next Wednesday, that's a Wednesday, and then a week later, we'll have the second public work session, just kind of a summary deal and answer any questions that have come up from the original. And then on the 10th, shortly, 5 days later, we'll have our public hearing and tentative adoption of the FY24 budget. Then on the 10th, when the new school year starts and at its annual meeting, the board will officially adopt the 24 budget and certify the levies to the county auditors. And then finally, by August 9th, we have to publish that budget in the newspaper. So that's the timeline. And like I said, we'll bring back to you next time in 2 weeks, the guidelines for the budget preparers to follow. So that's it. I'll stand by for questions. I'll just say that the administrative recommendation is to approve the FY24 budget timeline as presented.
Any questions for Todd?
Pretty standard, what we've done year over year,
Yeah.
no changes, so.
All right.
I was just say, I appreciate that we are keeping the double work session just to allow for more public input as well as more eyes on it from the board in time to review.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve the FY24 budget timeline?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is just to briefly review and remind the board of their official legislative platform positions. It looks like we have a few slides on that as well.
Yeah, it won't take long. No jokes for this one. So our first, well, we've been meeting with legislators. We've got more meetings scheduled, like one-on-one or two-on-one, or maybe three from a district at most. We're doing those. We started a little bit earlier because some of the races were already settled before, because there's no opponents, but we've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, and we'll do it for probably a couple more. And then we'll finalize this and get it to look nice, and then we'll have that, is it December 13th, have all of our delegation invited in for a breakfast here and go through that. So the first one here is on juvenile justice. As you can see, the whole thing is included there, and you've got it in your documents, but it's essentially to review the funding mechanism for the diversion programs, and then just encourage more of it, probably because it's very necessary. And maybe you know, they did this summer study, so they're looking at solutions for this and encouraging that whole process to go forward. But we do believe there needs to be some changes with that funding mechanism. Next is state aid, and it's usually one of our priorities. And our proposal is to, same as it was last year, to increase the state aid formula 3% or inflation, whichever is greater, as opposed to what's in current law, which is 3% inflation, whichever is less. And just real quick on that, we all know that most of our, over 80% of our discretionary revenue in the general fund comes from the state aid formula. And over 80% of our expenditures are salaries and benefits, and most of those are on teachers. So if you want the teacher increases to kind of get back, picked up and back to where they were, and after the 2016 legislation was passed, then you've got to be giving it the increases that you expect the salaries to go up. If you give 1.7, 1.8, the salaries aren't going to go up 3% or more. And we did get 6% last year, but hopefully that is a trend that will continue. Next is it was a new concept. Typically in a given legislative year, there's a bill or two, or maybe even three, to get more participation in local elections. And so we looked at ours. We looked at the last. We didn't have one this year, but we looked at the last 10 years, and you can see, surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, the even numbered years, the turnout's usually pretty good. The lowest there is 11.3%, and when the mayor election is up, we actually get over 30% in those years, and we always combine with the city. In the odd years where there's nobody we have 3-year terms, so we have elections every year. In the odd years, there's nobody to combine with. So you can see our best turnout was 14.9 in 2015, but that was because we had the Labor Day vote was on the ballot, and that's what turned out the voters. So if you look at, and I should say in 2020, both of us, the city and the school district, combined with the county because all the April elections were canceled due to COVID. So we had a decent turnout there that year. So if we throw that year out, 2020, and we throw out 2015, the average is 22.3 in the even numbered years, and it's 4.2 in the odd numbered years. So our proposal is to go to 4-year terms, get them, so you'll get them eventually, so they're all in the even year, and you can get your turnout, our turnout anyway, would be 5 times on average greater than it is right now in our elections. So that is and I'd imagine that would apply to other bigger cities for sure, that would combine, that would be interested in combining to get their turnout up. So that's that one. And then, so those are kind of our 3 main ones. And then there's other area of interest. It's keep the dropout age where it's at, which is currently at 18. Expand early childhood education priorities. The state really doesn't have any kind of funding that goes into that of any serious amount anyway. Then more credit with dual programs, dual credit program flexibility, so that some of those students that are sophomores currently aren't allowed to participate. They could, we would like that to allow them to do it, because there are a few out there that could definitely benefit from that. And then finally, it's replace the Smarter Balance test for juniors with the ACT test as the state test that everybody takes. Stand by for questions, but the administrative recommendation is approve the 2023 Sioux Falls School District Board positions as presented for the district's legislative platform.
Thanks, Todd. Any questions?
No, I appreciate all the work you guys are doing with meeting with legislators and crafting this, because it takes time and to develop those relationships, and that will serve us well in Pierre, just to even have that open line of communication with them while they're out there. And I can't say enough with that juvenile justice how important I'm really glad to see that on the top of our platform with regarding the funding and the other mechanisms for our community.
Thanks, Todd. Anything else? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the 2023 legislative platform?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.